now let's start. Our channel now try to help everybody now. You can do coding because today with AI, actually now everybody now, even you never learn coding, you can use AI now to do a project. But I have a lot of people now never any experience, never do coding, never learn coding. Then they try to do one project. Actually now it's very hard. Now even if you have some issues, have some trouble, don't know how to fix. So we try to make now the AI coding as from black box now as white box. So make everybody can understand what's happened now when AI do the coding. Also, if any problem, we can help AI to resolve the problem. We will make it try to everybody can do it. Not you are learning computer science, not you have a lot of coding experience. We try to make everybody can help AI for coding. Okay, now let's start. From today now we'll learn some knowledge. Learn some knowledge. So I have talked a lot. We make now the coding design as the diagram, as the workflow. So that's the logic. So everybody can understand the logic. But before we start, we need to have very basic knowledge. Now we still not. Normally, if we want to learn coding, we need to go to university, start 4 years. Then you go to one company. Maybe after another 2 years, then you can do coding very well. But today, with AI, with our web learning skill, I think half hour is enough. Half hour. After half hour learn, you will know how to use AI for coding. Now with our platform, with our software. Okay, so I have said that we changing now all the node to add one function, So what's function? Now that's now. I guess if you have some knowledge, now you exactly know what's function. But maybe you never learn computer, you never learn coding. What's function? So let me tell you. I asked AI, so what's function? Please give an example in Python to explain it. So actually now a function is just now one block of code. Now the code can do something. So we don't want to every time read the code every time. We can reuse the code block. So we just give one example now. What's function? You can see that's one very simple function. Very simple. Now that's just now one function to add two numbers. So A plus B. Then we return C. So that's one function. Actually, now the function has one name. Another one, the function now has parameters. You want to add two numbers, so you need to give the number A and B. If you want to add three numbers, you need to give number A, number B, and number 3. If you want a more complex, for example, you want to get the current weather, so we still need a parameter. Because you want to get the weather, where? You want New York, Sydney, or Beijing, Shanghai, or London. So you need the location. You need to tell the location. Also, the weather, we need to know the when you want. You want the history, or you want the weather now currently, or you want the weather tomorrow or after 1 week. So you need to give the time. Also, because weather now a lot of fact, you want to get it raining or not. If you want to get the windy or not. If you want to even the windy now is strong or not strong, what's the level? So that means now you get a weather. Still now the weather will retain you some data. So that's now we call now in ComfyUI we call input and output. So I'll give you one demo. Now that's all the function now you can understand. Now actually this is very simple. Now let's use ComfyUI to make this concept more simple. Now you can understand. Okay. We just now use the workflow. So we create a new one. Then we right click. The X flags agent. So with the first now we use the first one. So because in here just as a prompt, later we'll ask AI to generate the prompt, so you don't need to care, but you need to know the concept. So because we want to create another node to do the function, add function, so we can change the prompt here. We say this function take two numbers a and b, return the sum. Okay. So we'll do like this. Because that's one function, we need to give one name. So we can do here add, because that's add function. So we say that's add. Maybe we just add add two numbers. Okay, we all give the low capital. So that's the function name, add two numbers. So that's the prompt. We'll ask AI to create the code. So this function takes two numbers, a and b, and returns the sum. So that's the function. Because we do the workflow, we use the node. So we need the input and output. So we can define now the two parameters. Input, that's we just rename it to a, because the number, we want to use a number. That's another one, that's b. That's still number. Okay, you can see, add two numbers, a and b. Then we have output. Output now is sum. So we update this one. We update output to sum. Still number. Okay. Now we have one node. This node now just add two numbers, return the sum. So that's now, because now I just demo the concept, how we mapping each function to one node. But all the node will use now, will ask AI to create the node. So you just say, you tell, I want to now add two numbers, get the sum. Then AI will create the node, create the prompt, create everything. So you don't need to care. But you just need to know the concept. Because we have A and B. So, okay, how we get the input? So we can now give another node. Okay. So this now can be very simple because we just update. We say now that's we just give one name number. But still now we want to type number. Okay. So the output, that's one number. We just create a random number. We just say random number. Okay. So then we connect. Now we connect the first one to A. So we give one name. We say, because each one is function. So we give one name now, get a random number. Okay, each one is function. Because we want two numbers, we need two numbers. So we just Control C, copy, and Control V. I'll use Mac now, Command V. So you create another one. So we just rename now, that's to number. Okay. Then we connect. We connect because now in ComfyUI everything now that's node. So even this same function, if we need because we just for demo. Actually now, we'll give one different name. I think that's best. With number one, then number two. Okay. So now we'll create a three function. We'll create a three function. All three nodes. One now we'll get one random number one, then we get another random number two, then plus the we give now another function as input A and B. Then we add the two numbers. Once we get a sum, we want to maybe write to disk or somewhere. So we'll create another node. Okay, because here now is no input, we give one input. Actually, there's no output. We just remove the output one. We input now just a number. Okay. Here we give one prompt. We say write to one file. Okay. So now we have now four nodes. Each one we just input, output, then prompt for what the node will do. So we will ask AI. To create now each function for the code. So after that, we have one very simple now application. We have one very simple application now, two functions to generate now two random number. Then with another function, we add the two number. After that, we write the number to one file. So that's a very simple concept. But everybody can understand. Now, even you never learn code, even you never now learn how to write an application. So you know this, but actually now we will not do ourselves. We will not do it manually. For anything, for any project you want to do, we will ask AI to write the workflow. So all your tasks, just check now each is a prompt if you want. Check the logic. If you need it. If now you want. If not, now you just now update the prompt, or you update the parameter. So once you click the run button, then we will let AI to generate the code for you. So even you get some trouble, for example, once we run the now application, run the workflow, if now you get some error, so it will be very easy for you to check what's the problem. Because now each function we know the actually because logic is very simple. We can ask AI to even now we get some problem. We can very easily now to find the problem from the diagram. We can ask AI to fix, because this is one very simple task. Even for AI, any problem I think for AI is very easy to fix it. So that's the whole concept. So next now let's check what's happened in the backend, in the code. Actually now the for node, that's all one function, one custom node. So let's go back. Let's check I'll show you the code. Okay. Actually, now the code now is very simple. There's a lot of things. But almost you don't need to care. You don't need to care, because the most now just as a template. Just as a template. So only thing you need to care now is one function, the process. The process will use the process function to generate the code. But before we generate code, we need to create one prompt to let AI to create a function. So if we want AI to create a function, we need to tell AI the two parameters. What's the function for? Then the output parameter. So we need the input and the output, and what's the function now we will do. So how can we get it? How can we get it? Actually now that's very simple. Now I have now do a lot of now troubleshooting, because now I'm new to now ComfyUI. I learn myself. Then I'll tell you how to use it, how to do it. So that's I have to do some tests. I just show you now some concept. Because the most important thing we need to know now, we need to know the input and output. So let's add some logs. Let's add some logs. Okay. I just uncomment the two lines. Let's do a check now, because sometimes now if you understand some code, it's very hard. Now if we print something, then it will be very easy now to help us to understand. Okay, let me kill the server, then restart. Okay. Let's now run the code. Let's run the workflow. Then let's see what will happen. Let's see what will happen. Okay, we just ran it. Okay, no errors, nothing happened. Then we just go back. We check the logs. You can see, we print log. Okay, we print log. So now I just want to show you something. You get some knowledge. Now, because now I think once our project finish, normally you don't need to care the details. But before that, I want you to know how I will build this project. How I build this project. I show you some concept. If you can understand, that will be good. If you don't understand, doesn't matter. You just get some concept. Just make sense. I think that will be enough. The first important thing, that's now this one, extra PNG info. So what's this? What's this? Before now, I check the ComfyUI documentation. It say extra PNG info. I cannot understand. I don't know what it means. Now even they, because now it's very hard to understand sometimes. But once I print the contents, I understand immediately. So, what's this? That's now, if you know ComfyUI, so we know if we want to share now one workflow, we have two ways. One way, now we can export the workflow as one JSON file. So the JSON file will exactly now same as this one, the JSON file. Well, same. So that means now, if we want to now share the workflow, actually, if we export the JSON file is as this one. So that's one. That's one we learned. Another one, just thinking, we have another way to share the workflow. Now, normally, if we check some website, we check now some ComfyUI custom node. They give our example, just one image. They say you just download the image, drag to ComfyUI, then you get the workflow. So now for me now, when I first time now use now ComfyUI, I get now for me very confusion. Why I just drag the image to the ComfyUI, I can get the workflow. So it's very hard now to understand that. So later I have done some research. So the ComfyUI just embedded the workflow now in the metadata of the image. So you just drag the image to the ComfyUI, you get the workflow. How to embed the workflow in the image metadata? That's the magic here. Actual PNG info. So that's why they call PNG info. That's why they call PNG info. Now, so actually now that's the image. Now, if we export now one workflow as one image, so that information will be saved to the PNG image now the metadata. So that's why it's called PNG info. So now you understand. So once we check, we'll find now the most important thing now, we'll check now. You can see that's input, output. Because we want to ask AI to write the function for us, we already know the prompt. We only need to know the input and output. So you can see the information in here. So for each node, we can get the input name and the type and the type. I think something wrong, but doesn't matter. I'll check later. Where you go and so we'll get the parameter. Once we get the parameter now, for example, the code logic actually that's very simple. So first now because the function will get the node ID, Then we'll work through the workflow to find the node. Then we save the input and output. Then we print the result. We can print the result. So you can see the logs. We can see for any node. We'll have that's our logs. You can see that's our logs. So that's input and output. So we use this one to create the prompt, then ask it to write the function. So that's the logic we'll do. Another thing I think that's very important because each function we have a parameter. Actually, the parameters they have different type. If you learn computer, if you learn coding, you know that one. But if you never learn, so I just let you know. Actually, now that's very simple. Now here now that's now ComfyUI custom node data type. So you can see the data type now that's just the first one. Actually, this is just one drop down. For example, you have fruit, you have apple, you have now banana, or you have now other fruit. Let the user to select. That's just one list of string. So that's now they call now combo. Another one that's now integer, float, string, blue. That's now mostly now just for image or audio. So we'll talk later. So actually now that's very simple. This is everything because each data we have now some type. Actually that's very simple. Now if you have more interested now in this concept, if you don't know, you just ask AI. In our ComfyUI now in our workflow, we have defined now the function. You can see the type. So the most important one is JSON. Now because sometimes we want to now have some structured data. So we use JSON. Then annotate. The annotate now that's now if you annotate you don't know, you can use annotate. You can match the data. So string number blue now image vector. That's all the data type we have or will have. So the whole logic now, I think now that's very simple. Okay. Too quick today. I think now that's today I want to do the demo. Because now the code now still not finished yet. So next week now once I finish the code, I'll show you the code how I write the prompt. Now so you understand that we just send the prompt, then ask AI to write the code, then we'll finish the project. So we'll have one first version, then you can do some simple code to ask AI to do it. Okay, maybe now. Another thing now, I want to now show something now. When we write the code, now, actually now, maybe first now do a demo. First do a demo, okay? Let me see. I'll create one new project. Okay, create one new project. New window. Let me create a new one. One second. Let me create one new project. Okay, we create a new one new project. Then we still now use GitHub Copilot. Okay, I think we still now. Let me think about. We still now use the example now to create one audio book. So we just ask AI, please create one path project to create an audio book video with image. I think I need to make a screen smaller. Okay. Okay. Then because now we use the agent, then we use agent. So we just now in the current directory, we just in the current directory. Okay. I'll show you now what I want to do. Okay. So you can see, then the agent created two files, one README, another one requirement. Then ask me to confirm. Because I want now either use one virtual environment. So I not say I say please use VEV. So because I don't want to now install packaging to anywhere, so I just ask AI. Yeah. You can see now is automatically download a lot of package. I want to let you know now why I make this demo. Why I make this demo. So I just realized now, because now I think you should have heard now one software, and that's called now Cursor. Okay, I'll show the software. Let me see. I just okay. Let's continue. Because now currently we are using now the GitHub and the Copilot, the AI agent. Another one I think is very famous. A lot of people you should have heard. A lot of people you should have heard. Okay, this one. You should have heard this one. Can see? Actually now I have tried the same thing. That's exactly same now with the GitHub and the Copilot. I can show you the interface. Let me check. Okay. Let me show you the interface. Yeah. You can see now that's almost exactly now same as GitHub, but that's our project now for the mobile app. You can see I use this one. That's exactly same as GitHub and Copilot. That's no different. That's just a chat window. You can see that's agent model. That's agent. That's ask the menu. This is no different. But what I want to show you, now. Before now, I think now the logic may be very complex. You can see the GitHub Copilot, and the Cursor. That's now a lot of people use it. Before I think now it can be very hard to build the software as this now. But now I just realized. Today we can very simple to build one software as this. So what's the logic? The logic now that's very simple. That's because that's based on the large language model. For example, we now use the cloud model. So all the things is very simple. That's just, for example, if we ask AI to do something, we just send the request to the language model. All the action, for example, the create a file, the update the file, then you run some command. That's all just function to call. So that means now if we want to develop one software as this, that's just as you ask one real person, just as when you ask a real person to do some work. You say, please write one software. Any file, please write to my disk. If you want to run some command, you just use shell command to run the command. If any trouble, maybe you can first now write one test case. You run the test case. If problem, you fix the code. So all the thing we just ask AI to do it. Once we need to use some tools, for example, create a file, update the file, run some command, we just ask AI to use the tools. So that's very simple. That's very simple. So the whole backend, now if we make it simple, actually that's just, you can think that's just one long prompt. There's almost no much magic. I just find the today. So I think now next session I will do a demo. We just use half hour, no more than 1 hour. I'll help you how to build one AI code agent in just as this, just as the cursor. So just as this, I'll tell you how to you can build this with zero knowledge, almost zero knowledge, just now with just as this. I'll show you next session. Now that will be very, very interesting. Very interesting. Actually, that's very simple. That's why now that's a lot of people say now. For example, the GitHub Copilot or any AI agent, even the cursor software, if now the AI language model now more powerful, maybe they will lose the market. Because the concept, the technology, actually now that's very simple. You can think the whole logic, the whole technology, just as a prompt engineering, just prompt engineering. That's very simple. So next session, I'll do a demo, no more than 1 hour, maybe just a half hour. I'll help you how to build one AI agent now like a cursor, like in the GitHub Copilot AI agent, no more than 1 hour. I'll let you know how to build in the next session. Okay, thanks everybody. Now I think today we're very quick. We'll now from next session we'll try to make each section now short. Actually now 1 hour is too long. Now nobody wants to stay 1 hour to have one class. Now, for example, if you are in university, if you are in school, if you attend one class more than 40 minutes, I think that's very tired. Even for me now, I host the level class. You long time still is not easy. So I think now from next session we'll try to now make each section now short, maybe 30 minutes. I think no more than 40 minutes. So today now we just now 37 minutes. I think that will be perfectly enough. So see you next time. Next time I'll tell you how you can build one AI code agent just in 30 minutes with almost any code knowledge. Okay, thank you everybody. See you next time.